Bitcoin pump is just beginning right now. But is it scary for the bulls, or is it actually scary for the Bitcoin baby bears? As nearly every single bear boy right now is screaming from under their mother's bed sheets, fake rally, biggest bull trap I've ever seen. The disbelief is at an all-time high. The hate is on maximum. And the juice seems to be absolutely ready and waiting to be let loose. And I have one chart so big, so gastronomically, gigantically big, you will fall out of your chair the second I explain to you what it means for Bitcoin price right now. So sit down, lock your door, grab a tissue, and tell mom not to come in for at least 1 to 3 minutes, because we are about to make a massive gain. Right now, the Bitcoin price, it continues to sit above 20,000 US dollars. And let's just get this out of the way. So many people, absolutely everywhere you look, are convinced that there is zero chance that this pump has any legitimacy to it at all, and that anybody believing that there is even an eensy-weensy, teensy-weensy little fraction of a chance that this pump could actually turn into anything. They believe people are delusional if they actually think that that's possible. And is that the definition of disbelief? Well, let me look in my handy-dandy notebook and confirm, well, in fact, it looks to be like that is exactly the psychological manifestation of where we are in the charts right now put into action as we see the current climate around Bitcoin a very different place than it was. In a very different place than it was just a year ago, okay? If you look on social media a year ago and Bitcoin, every time it would have a $5,000, $10,000 pump, everyone was convinced that, okay, the bull market's back on. We're going back to 100K. Here we go. Actually, 100K is coming. And now, again, the flip has completely switched, and rightfully so, because for the last year, the Bitcoin bears have been right. We have gotten dumped on, right? It's been completely, you have to admit it. The Bitcoin bears, if you've been bearish basically since the beginning of 2022 ended up just being a gigantic dump fest, a massive dumpulation of ginormous even proportions, right? And there's no escaping that. So now, though, everybody is conditioned to that, which is exactly the requirement that psychologically the market needs before markets tend to reverse. Because again, guys, remember, more than anything, markets are psychological. Markets play on human emotion much more than they do anything else. Price levels, all of that, it's very important, but the core fundamental psychological feeling that people have about these markets is very, very important. And if we take a look at Bitcoin's chart right now, massive things are happening. But one thing I want to point out right away is that it is very critical that even though we have broken above every key moving average on the daily chart for Bitcoin, the 21, the 50, and the 200-day, which the 200-day was right at about 19.5, that's very good. That's very important. And even on the weekly, we have broken above this very critical 21 weekly level right here, and the 200 weekly sits at about 24.5 or about 25,000. So we're absolutely not in a full breakout yet. But it is possible, but we're not there yet. And even though that's very good for the price, we do have to highlight the fact that right now we are potentially, I think it's very important that if we want any sort of a breakout, we very, very quickly need to be breaking above this previous high that happened right before the FTX collapse, right at about 21.5, because we had a little bit of a move leading up to the beginning of November, and we got pretty much rejected right at 21.5. And again, then FTX collapse happened and brought the entire market to its knees, basically to the lowest it's been since the bull run began a couple of years ago. But now it's important we don't set a double top. Okay, it's very important that we have a little bit more juice. Okay, and we will see over the next couple of days, actually tomorrow, basically when the stock market opens, and we'll see how momentum looks there, if it's able to do that. Now, again, today's a holiday for trading here, but the SPX, the stock market, is right at exactly at 4,000. So this is a huge, gigantic moment. In fact, the biggest moment of the past year, because it's the first time we've had this many touches on this year-long plus descending resistance. This is our third touch of just the past month and a half. And if we're able to concretely break this, that is going to be huge. Gains rallies to the upside like we've never seen before, okay? At least for the past year. But if we get rejected here, okay, that's going to be big. So it's a very big moment for the entire market, not just crypto. So that's one thing to watch. And as always, it seems like all of these things are so confluent with each other. All of these things always seem to happen at the craziest time. I mean, the SPX is testing a year-long plus, the most significant resistance, the most significant downtrend line of this entire bear market, at the same time that Bitcoin is, doing something very big on its own, trying to break this previous high and not set a double top. So things always, they're pretty big right now. Things are pretty big. But I do believe that we will see a pullback at some point where everybody believes, yes, see, I told you it was a bull trap, just like always. The price never only goes up and it never only goes down. So, if in 2 days the bears are screaming, see, I told you it was a bull trap, and then 2 days after that we're above 22 or 23,000, that wouldn't surprise me. In fact, that is exactly what historically the Bitcoin market has done, right? Switcheroos, fakeroos, and reach-around-aroos like we've never seen before. But in fact, we have seen them before, and we see them all the time. But as well, something big here, this is the epitome of disbelief, basically. Jeff Ross, founder and CEO of Elshire Capital Management, says basically, this is the epitome of it. The disbelief stage of a market, Bitcoin bear markets end with face-melting rallies, typically a 2x from lows, seeing a lot of, I don't trust this rally, or this is a bull trap, or why does this make me feel uncomfortable in the feed. That is exactly what you want to see when we actually see the bottom. Because we've had a lot of these situations where Bitcoin goes very low and then it pumps a little bit and everyone's like, okay, see, it's back on, bull market back on. This is the first real time where it seems like nobody at all believes this could actually be a real pump. And that's basically what makes this different. This is what makes this actually possible, that this could be a real pump. When everybody believes it's impossible we're about to get a pump, an actual one, and that we're, it's a fool's trap, we're about to go straight to 10K, that makes it so much less likely that that'll actually happen. But if we take a look here, so, again, this was posted by Crypto Burb here on Twitter. The greatest amount of cognitive dissonance is experienced during the early stages of a reversal. And we are seeing, you can just see he put one moving average here that we've broken. We've absolutely busted above. And again, it's just very significant. It's pretty much the first time since 2022 we've broken above this moving average. We got rejected numerous times, and again, there's a lot of cognitive dissonance. Not to mention, if we take a look here, this tweet by Plan C: after enduring a Bitcoin bear market, the inevitable return to red will be glorious. That return to red being about $100,000 to $150,000 per Bitcoin, which currently we were down in the very bottom range of this model. Again, none of these models are completely accurate. They just potentially offer some value. You should never just look at one model and say, because again, we've seen how that plays out. For example, like Plan B, his model, the stock to flow, everything. You never put all your faith in one model, but use them as rough guides to just maybe get an idea of where we are in the market psychologically, price-wise, all of that. And I could not agree more. I think that we are desperately oversold, just completely, devastatingly lower than what Bitcoin's price actually should be. And I think that buying at 21,000, if you think that that's really silly, then you're just forgetting to zoom out and really look at where we are historically, and in terms of just every other cycle. Again, not every cycle is going to repeat, but could we go lower? Absolutely. Nobody knows what's going to happen, but it just looks like so lopsided right now, where again, like if Bitcoin would go to 10K, is it worth not having a single dollar of exposure to crypto in the hopes that you'll just buy all in at 10K and miss the entire run? It's just crazy, right? Because the risk is way too high, in my opinion. For what? Bitcoin to go down another couple $1,000s as opposed to it going up tens and tens of thousands of dollars, right? And also, here we see Dan Crypto Trades historically a weekly candle close with a 20% gain following a 6-month or longer bear market with a 75% or more decline has always been the bottom for Bitcoin. And this is the 4th time, potentially, that we've ever seen that. And if it meets that criteria, those things that I just said, then that has historically always been the bottom of a Bitcoin bear market. So that's absolutely worth realizing. Again, things can change, right? Nothing ever repeats, but really zoom out and look at where we're at. And then also here, you can see, the bottom and top of these prices and the RSI breakout. It's very important what's happening on the weekly RSI right now. I think a lot of people are aware of that. We've had our first RSI breakout since the beginning of 2021. The RSI has been on a downtrend for 2 entire years. And just within the last few days, we have started really beginning to break out of that RSI downtrend. Do not underestimate the strength of what that could mean. Now, again, there are obviously a lot of macroeconomic factors going on right now that could drag the markets down, but that's been the narrative the entirety of 2022 and now as well. And you have to, at some point, realize that if the narrative is getting played out, if you're maybe just believing a little too much in the narrative and investing way too much, because plenty of people are, and plenty of people have missed. Believe it or not, it is like a little baby pump, right? 15,000 to 21,000. It's not a huge pump, but the bigger picture is there. What if we never go below some of those levels again? What if we never go back to 15K? What if we never do go to 10K? Then what? There are plenty of people sitting on the sidelines waiting that simply aren't in right now. And those people are absolutely, the potential for maximum bonage could never be higher, okay? And that's exactly how bear market bottoms actually always happen anyway, because you need this type of psychology right now. I think psychology is like the biggest, just getting a sentiment check of the entire how everyone feels is one of the best indicators, but it's very nuanced and it's not black and white like a chart is, so it's harder to read. But I think it is important if you're like watching the charts every day, that it is something that is totally worth paying attention to. And as well, I'm long on these trades here. I have a few actual Hail Mary longs that I'm just going to hold on to forever because if they get squashed, it doesn't really matter. I'm more so looking for just maximum gainage if we go on a multi-week, multi-month rally here, because the setup here is very unique, I think. Could that change? Absolutely. Absolutely nobody knows. That's the crazy thing. I don't ever proclaim that I know everything. I mean, of course I don't. My gosh, there's not a single person I've ever watched on YouTube or read in a tweet who absolutely knows everything going on. If you think that is true, then you just simply haven't been in markets long enough, and they haven't given you the opportunity to be proven wrong. Because every single person that I've ever seen make a prediction has been wrong at some point. Not a single person will ever always be right, and that shouldn't be the goal, right? Nobody should want to always, I mean, that's a great goal, but it's absolutely completely unrealistic. Even the people that claim to have caught the entire bear market, believe it or not, guys, I've been here for a couple of years. Those people also were saying we were going to be in a bear market as Bitcoin went from 3,000 to 69,000. Nice. But they just don't like to talk about that, the fact that they missed that entire move, because they were right about the dump then from 69 to 15. But yeah, literally every single person that I know that caught the entire bear market also missed the entire previous bull market. So that's just very important to note. Nobody knows everything. Manage your risk. And I don't even know why I have to say this, but believe it or not, this actually is advice that people tend to need, because you just see comments sometimes on people's videos, on threads and stuff. Anything could happen. But again, this looks like a beautiful opportunity. I believe anything could happen, but I think I've, over the past couple of weeks, I've made it very clear what my position and my opinion on the market is right now. Absolute time sensitive alerts. Take advantage of absolutely massive, ginormous deposit and welcome bonuses with BITGET and BitGet below. And specifically, if you sign up with BITGET or BitGet below, get 0 fees for spot trading. If you use my link below, 0 fees when trading spot. It's gigantic. There's also dozens and dozens of coins you can be trading. And up until this point, have not seen a better deal than that. You should not be paying for spot trading fees if you have the option to not be doing that. And without any further ado, it's free.